Hey friends! So as I was editing this video, I realized that I barely recorded myself like talking, explaining about what I was making. So here I am narrating this video. So I hope you enjoy. For this dress, the client reached out to me literally like 3 weeks before she needed it, and I had told myself that I was not going to accept any more orders where I had less than a month to make it because it's extremely stressful for me and it's extremely stressful for you. But she actually lived here in South Florida, like an hour away from me, and I was just like, you know what, screw it, because at least like she's here, like I can meet up with her, I can do the fitting and I can just give it to her. Like I don't have to worry so much about shipping because that's typically like the issue. The inspiration for this dress was this iconic Valentino dress that Zendaya wore on the red carpet. Literally beautiful. I love this dress, and she really wanted to have like the same waist detail, like all of the pleats, and like keep like the pleated detail with like the same skirt, the slit and everything, but she wanted the top half to be different. She actually wanted to be like a halter, or like comes across here and then it ties in the back and have like an open back, and then she wanted like some braids to come up like on the sides of it, and the braids are like what you tie around your neck. So after I finished that prom dress that I posted last week, I immediately started working on this dress. I started by creating all the style lines on my mannequin so that I could drape everything out of muslin. For this dress, I knew that I needed to create 2 lining pieces for each of the patterns, like for the where the pleats are going to be, because you need one lining to hand sew all of the pleats onto, and then the other lining to actually, you know, sew on, flip inside out so that it's like the actual lining of the dress. This is what came up with. So basically we're like gonna add some like braids like with the fabric along here. This is what it's like now, living with people. Never alone. But I love it. Now we're just gonna start transferring it to paper pattern. So what are you working on, Brian? Show us. Wait, I'm gonna get copyrighted.
Why you shutting
Pause. I'm gonna get copyrighted.
Yo, what's
Tell
good?
us, what are you working on?
Working on a jacket out of Upcycled Sedano's tote bags. Sedano's is a store, a market here in Miami that was founded by Cuban refugees back in, I think, the 80s, something like that. Pretty cool.
Show us the sketch. What's the concept?
Where idea originally comes from a racing jacket, and then for the weak spots of like the tote material, we're doing like patchwork on like the sweaty spots that a person would normally get, and it's kind of gonna turn into something like this one right here, and we're gonna have like a bunch of pockets, and the pockets are gonna have the different logos of like the sponsors, quote unquote. So we're there right now.
We're working on it.
We're working on it.
But these are some of his old designs. Very similar to this.
Goodwill, Publix, very South Florida, all upcycled. Shower curtain, made out of shower curtain.
But like he loves like what's it called? Functional fashion. Like,
so everything turns into vests, into pants, into shorts. This is a canopy.
this is his logo. Estudio Orgánico.
You know, the vibe.
Oh shoot.
Damn, she doesn't give a budge.
I can't.
Alrighty. What did I do?
It's a vibe. It's a vibe. And then his girl, we got his girlfriend Angie. She loves to do a lot of like lycra. This is one of her logos on like a little mini skirt. they like collaborated and like basically combined their brands. Good old, you know, you already know, very Miami. Yeah. Catch us in the stew. Okay. After draping one side, I transferred all my muslin samples to paper pattern. I created paper patterns for all the lining pieces that are going to be underneath and all of the pleated pieces as well, so that it's easier to cut out of the chiffon. And then I just went straight into cutting out all of the fabric. You always want to start off by cutting out your biggest pieces, your biggest pattern pieces first, so I started off by cutting out the skirt. I cut the lining piece like a big old circle skirt, but I didn't make it like a full, like from one edge of the fabric to the other edge. I kind of did it kind of a little bit smaller because I needed fabric to cut out like the other lining pieces, and I wasn't gonna have enough, so I just made the skirt a little bit like less voluminous basically, but it's still gonna be very voluminous. And then I used that same piece to cut it out of the chiffon fabric, but I actually ended up only needing to do that for the back piece, and I didn't need to cut it out like that for the front piece because I ended up doing it a little bit different. And then I cut out all of the lining pieces for the top and for the waist sections, and I pinned them onto the mannequin and made sure that they all lined up, and pinned all of the darts to machine sew them. After mapping everything out, I started to pleat with the chiffon fabric. I actually met up with a customer to discuss this dress at the fabric store, and we looked through all the fabrics and decided like what we wanted to get. She wanted the same like kind of yellow that it is in the dress, but not like as vibrant necessarily. She really fell in love with like this pale yellow chiffon, but like wanted it to be kind of vibrant, so I suggested like a brighter lining. I found like this really neon, it was stretchy like fabric, like not a typical lining, but it was the only thing I could find that was like vibrant enough. And then with that layered on top of the chiffon, it kind of creates like a brighter yellow color, but without it being so like as bright, you know. So this is the progress that I made on the dress. Basically just the front. I haven't done the back. I'm gonna do this now, but I hand pleated all of this, and I've already like sewn everything into place basically. For the top here, like I already put the lining, and like I hand sewed like the cup inside. And I have to like still make all of the braids, which I should do too before I like sew this piece in between this like center part here. I'm gonna like sandwich this in between these ones and then like flip it out so it's all like hidden inside. And then for this part here, like I made this lining for it, but I didn't make it entirely the same like width as this because the skirt is going to be attached like underneath here, so I'm just going to connect the lining piece with the lining of the skirt and just like have it continue that way instead of just like making a whole piece to try and make it all look seamless. And yeah, so now I'm going to start draping out this back pleats here. For the straps to create the braids, I ended up like just cutting out like 1-inch really long strips of the chiffon fabric to then fold in half and sew to like flip inside out, you know, like how you would make a regular strap, like creating a tunnel. But I did that just for the chiffon, and then I cut out really thin strips of the yellow lining fabric, so that whenever I flipped the chiffon pieces inside out, I would pull through like a little thin strip of the lining fabric, so that it like basically is encased by it, and you still have like the, you know, same effect. It was much easier to do it like that than like trying to somehow sandwich the chiffon with the lining, like flip it and then like sew it to make a tunnel, and trying to flip that out, because like you can't do that. It's so impossible. It's a lot easier to just have a tunnel and pull it through. I literally don't have a footage of me doing it. I was like really trying to just get this dress done, so I was not recording everything, but I'll do better next time. I then just like sandwiched all of the braids and everything into the fabric so that it all looked seamless, and I hand sewed all of the braids into place like all along the back and everything. And then for the skirt, the front of the skirt, I ended up like basically keeping it on the straight grain, the top edge, and then gathering just the center to create kind of like that same effect that she had in the dress, where it was like just basically like gathered right in the center right there. And I then made a slit on the side. We could never find a time to meet up. She always worked really late, and we live like an hour away, and she doesn't have a car, so it was like a mission to try and get this like a fitting done so that I could finish the dress. So basically I had to go drive to her house like in Hollywood, Florida, an hour. Like it was like 50 minutes away from me, really early in the morning, to fit the dress on her, because she had a flight that day at like 2 p.m. So I had to, or it was like 5 p.m. But I had to go over there, fit it on her, and I ended up having to make it a little bit tighter on the waist. So I had like basically like sewed the zipper into the back of the dress, but not completely like finished it, because just in case this happened, which ended up needing to do that, but like I ended up having to like seam rip the zipper and just like, you know, attaching it a little bit farther out so that I could make the waist smaller. And I was just doing that in her house like real quick while she was like getting ready for her flight and everything. So it was a mission, but ended up working out. The dress looked beautiful. It looked so good on her, and I didn't get any photos because she was in a rush. So I was hoping that she would take photos whenever she was at the wedding, but apparently she didn't. So I also don't have photos of this dress. I just have me wearing it, and it's not even like completely finished basically. So yeah, even though this dress was a mission and a half, I'm really happy with how it came out, and I hope that you guys learned a little something from this. I definitely did. I will not be accepting orders in less than a month again. Even if you live here, I'm not gonna do it. You need to give me 2 months at least, the latest. But I hope you guys liked this video and you learned a little something new. I'll be sharing a lot more, and I love you all. Have a great rest of your day. Bye.